So there's really no excuse to be late. Unless sometimes people fall on hard times and the revenue streams get mixed up. But if you were to do a food trailer and get a business license, you will have a sales tax report you fill out. And you would be subject to the meals tax, I believe. Would he not?
There'd be two requirements for you. You'd have to pay the meals tax, or collect the meals tax. You'd also have, if you're going to be in a mobile situation where you're moving around, unfortunately, the town's ordinances for zoning and for business licenses are still a little archaic. For those kinds of things, we still have an itinerant merchant's tax, which is pretty expensive, $500 a year, and you have to provide a surety bond, which is different than other businesses. That may be something the committee want to look at. I watch Food Channel, and they talk about trucks and food trucks. Right now, fireworks vendors that come into town periodically during the year, they pay a $500 business license fee, and they put up a surety bond to make sure if somebody's aggrieved, a citizen is aggrieved in town while they're here, and then they run off, that we can collect on the surety bond. But if you're going to do a truck, that's mighty expensive for a business license.
Would you be looking
Itinerant
to set
merchant.
up, would you be looking to set up in Blackstone or just elsewhere?
I mean, I'm the Blackstone, the surrounding county. So
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. So how would I do that? Five me with my doing my taxes and stuff and my food thing. I might be in Blackstone that morning and crew that evening.
You got to keep track of it.
Right.
Crew's got a meals tax too, but just same as ours.
I can't speak to the meals tax, but I would assume wherever your situs is where you got to pay it. But as far as business license, you only need to get one business license in the town. I assume you'd also have to get a county business license. But for contractors, what we do is, and what the state code says, if a contractor is doing more than $25,000 of work in your community, and I assume it's selling hot dogs too, or food as well, that person, unless they do more than 25, do not have to get a separate business license in your community, that they can fall under their Mecklenburg County, Brunswick County, whatever business license they have. But once they exceed $25,000 of sales or gross receipts in your community, then the town is entitled to get one. Also,
I saw our friendly attorney resident, Ms. Watrous. Okay, didn't you had something to say?
No, just stretching.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were okay. I'm sorry. I apologize. Next on Church Street, project number 4, we have received agreements from 4 additional homes. Let's move along.
that's moving along, and we should be tearing down that old church anytime.
All right.
That thing has been hanging around for plenty long.
Next up on Wrigglesworth, the town manager is asking to designate a date and time to discuss the playground location. Mr. Nash, your committee?
And I think Ben and I said
Yeah.
we would meet with Philip.
Okay.
So, and Barbara, yeah.
Barbara will chair the
So
committee.
we just,
I've just got some equipment I need to put in. If we're gonna move it, let's
I'm
move it.
available the rest of
We'll put it
July.
back.
It's just, this is not, the Rotary Club's equipment is where it is. We're talking about the grant we got.
this is possibly moving the existing playground to, I believe we were talking right outside the fence of the Wrigglesworth Stadium.
Okay. Y'all get together with the town manager
August.
and send a notification out if it's more than 2 council members. Very good. East End Planning Grant, we're still waiting, I guess?
We have not heard anything to the
Any
contrary.
day now. It's rare they go to August. It's usually in June or July.
It's summertime for sure, and I think that Yvonne went down to Richmond and spoke with Tamara Holmes, who's kind of the head knocker, the old Todd Christensen, if you remember that name. She's the Todd Christensen of DHCD now, and I think some of the budget concerns that they've had about federal funds flowing to the state and thus to the localities has delayed the announcement. So that at least was the explanation we received.
Very good. Nottaway Avenue is near completion, as we discussed earlier, and looking at completion on or before September 1st, and that completion includes the paving.
The completion includes the paving, that they're supposed to be substantively complete on or around the 1st of August with final completion around the 1st of September.
Moving on to new business, we have before you a list of surplus vehicles that the town manager wants to be declared surplus.
So moved.
Motion been made by Mr. Green, seconded by Mr. Nash to declare surplus and put them on Gov Deals. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. This is just a number 2 to renew the listing agreement with the Old Town Shop property. It's actually gone, is it,
Expired last month in
Okay.
June, so this is the first council meeting we've had since the expiration.
council, what's your pleasure?
Move to,
Terms have not changed, correct? Commissioner?
Terms are the same.
Okay.
move to approve.
Nash has moved, Mr. Moncur is second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Any abstains?
Abstain.
Very good. All right, that motion carries 6-0. a good company we're doing business with. New business number 3, zoning permit fee. Could you explain this, Mr. Monroe? You were asking council to waive zoning permit fees. I was curious about this.
Yeah, I feel kind of guilty because Jennifer Daniel and I do zoning permits. I do the ones where we've got to go out and measure. We got to meet with Oakwood Homes, and we got to go out on site, or we go on Courthouse Road to meet with a property owner that wants to put in a new manufactured home. Those do take time, but the majority of our zoning permits are required only because the county, and we're grateful that they do this, will not issue a building permit in the town of Blackstone unless there is a zoning permit issued by the town. The majority of those are electrical permits, doing mechanical improvements, putting new ductwork in a house, things that aren't zoning. But we charge $25 for those activities. What I'd like to do is continue to charge $25 when Jennifer and I have to get in the car and go meet people and spend time and Goodwill and things like that that are new development. But for somebody,
I'll offer a motion that if town manager or staff does not require to leave the building, that the fee be waived.
More business friendly.
yeah,
Friendly.
and we can even say if it's an electrical, plumbing, or mechanical permit, that there's no fee. A building permit, when
You
they're,
don't have to, if you don't have to go to the site,
Mm-hmm.
I think you can waive the fee. If you go to the site and have Carrie Jennifer with you, I
That's
think you
time.
should charge the fee.
You feel good with that? I mean,
I would prefer, if you would, the electrical, mechanical, and the plumbing permits not charging a fee. Because sometimes people come in and we go back and look at the zoning book and we look at stuff inside. Signs, I think that's zoning. I think that we've got to sit down and calculate square footage on signs and do all that.
You want specific electrical?
Mechanical and plumbing permits be waived.
okay.
Because that's not a zoning issue.
Your motion?
That's just satisfying the
Are
county.
you having to go out and look at these permits?
Not typically. Now, Andre may have to go out there and locate or do something like that, but that's part of the misutilities that we're obligated to do. And I just feel guilty of hitting somebody up for $25 and it took me 15 seconds to fill out a piece of paper, you know? That's $25. There'll be some lost revenue to the town, but I do think we're not earning $25.
The only thing I like about it, I applaud you on looking at not being cumbersome to the applicant. The only thing I will say good about this policy is $25 for everybody. There's no fairness issue. No one has to get in the point, well,
He didn't charge that guy, and
you know, how about,
That's why my motion was if you don't have to leave the building,
right,
then you wouldn't have to.
that's a caveat,
That's my motion.
all right, Mr. Green is gonna stand by his motion, that is there will be no fee as long as no town employee has to leave the building and travel to the site where work's being done. Is there a second to Mr. Green's motion? Mr. Moncur has
President
moved.
Thompson's already second.
All right, well, Mr. Thompson is second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Mr. Van Beck would also like to seek authorization to seek seal bids for a leaf machine, new leaf machine.
it is in the budget, and it is in the capital improvement plan, and the money is cash set aside that we don't have
How
to
big
scramble.
down?
We put 45 in the budget, but David Ostrander gave us some estimates between a diesel and a gas, and I don't know what the specs say, but Josh and David have worked them out. It would be 30 to 45, somewhere in there. I anticipate we're gonna get a diesel leaf machine, because I think they'll work on a lot better.
How many do the town of Blackstone own right now that currently operate wonderfully?
One.
Just one, so you want to have two.
We need to have two. The second one, we'd have to put a significant amount of money in, and we may still have to upgrade that one if we can't get a leaf machine by the 1st of October. And it's gonna be right at or about that time.
Move to approve to seek sealed bids.
And we may be able to either use EVA, which we're not confident that there's a leaf machine on, or that same procurement program that we bought the bucket truck to.
What can we do to eliminate when you filled up the trailer? You know, you filled up the trailer and all three guys gotta go to the dump. I mean, can we buy an additional trailer? And you know,
time-consuming,
I
man.
mean, does it take three guys to go unload?
No, absolutely not. It takes two guys to go unload, but the problem is, what do you do with the other guys? Sit them on the side of the road?
He
know.
can't do it by himself, yeah.
You know, but I think the ideal situation is to have two leaf machines on the road. But it takes three guys, one driver, one operating the rake and putting the stuff in there, and then one guy operating the hose. If you're watching, it's pretty cumbersome. I mean, it's not
Yeah, it's
much
on
fun to
that-
watch.
It's on that rope and ladder.
The third guy goes to drop the leaves off because the alternative is let him sit there.
Criticizing, it's
No,
just,
I get
it's
it. Oh,
just
yeah.
like, you know, I'm probably the best leaf customer in Blackstone. And, you know, they leave and they come back, and I'm not saying they're goofing off. It's just the machine's sitting there idle, and that's where I wondered if we could look at keeping the machine running. Does that make sense?
They're gonna have to have someone pull it around. I haven't solved that one. Nobody likes seeing three guys ride around. Obviously, that's
Taking
not
to the
popular.
landfill, right, the county landfill.
We don't take them to the county. We're taking Rocky Bump.
On, Rocky Bump.
But
And I let folks know there's a pile of leaves out there that make great garden,
Great mulch, yeah.
great mulch in your garden.
We have a motion and a second to seek bids for leaf machine. All in,
I just heard you make a motion.
who wants a second?
we've
Mr. Nash?
already, when I came back on council, we could authorize him to seek all the bids he
I
wants.
think the only reason you're doing this because it's in the budget on the capital improvement. Is that right? I think.
$10,000.
Yeah. Okay, I commend him. Let's give. You want a second, Mr. Nash's motion? All in favor? I'll do a roll call vote because it's gonna cost over 10,000. Starting with Mr. Nash. 7-0 on the leaf machine.
Last item, this was a last minute thing, and I tipped my toe in this
memories.
water one time before, but I did tell the coaches that I would bring it to your attention. The 13 to 15-year-old Babe Ruth coaches approached me on, gosh, it was maybe Thursday when we were doing the board packets. They were getting ready to leave to go to Harrisonburg for the tournament, and they asked if the town could make a donation to assist with some of the travel costs for some of the kids. I said, oh, been through this one time before. I think I'll offer to you that I will bring it to council on Monday night. And they had some kids that didn't have the ways or the means to pay for hotels and travel and that sort of thing. I think the coaches are fronting. It's not every child. It's some of the kids.
Right.
And I called Ronnie Rourke and I said, man, is there anything that you've got, any discretionary funds or anything to help out? He said, no, we were approached about this one time before, and instead of making a county donation, individual board members made
They did.
donations.
The supervisors opened their wallets at night, but and it's a wonderful gesture. And certainly, you want any child that wants to be able to do something positive to be able to do it. I would just say this as a former ball parent who and still coaches. You know, when you start at the beginning of the year, these possibilities exist. I mean, your goal is to go to the World Series or the district state tournament, and you as coaches, you certainly are aware of that. And yeah, I mean, council, what's your pleasure,
That's easy, isn't it?
Mr.
I
Mike?
make a motion that we say no to this contribution and that we encourage this council and any and all members of the town to make a private contribution.
Who is the point of contact? Todd Atkinson?
Scotty Atkins.
Scotty? Yeah. Okay.
Second.
8th Street Scotty.
Yes. All right. Mr. Mike has moved. Mr. Nash is second to reject the request politely, but to encourage all of us to give privately.
And further, to let this motion cover future requests that we have for donations.
In other words, you setting policy. Is that what you're saying?
I think so, yes.
I second that.
All right. All in favor of the request, say aye. I mean, of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Committee referrals, there are no requests for committee referrals. I have nothing on the mayor's minute other than we start another fiscal year and we're on probably the best footing that I can recall since being mayor financially. And I want to commend the members of council and the staff because it's nice. We've still got a ways to go, but it's nice to have a cushion, a little bit of a cushion. Your police reports in your packet.
May I make one comment?
Yes, Mr. Moncur.
Thank you for the kind remarks. Please do not lose sight of the fact that while we got our heads above the edge of the hole that we dug for ourselves, that we're still climbing and we still have not reached the recommended reserve that our auditors say we need, and that good in your own business you would try to set up for yourself.
True.
And it's not gonna be met this month or next month, it's gonna be a continued effort
Hopefully
by
we'll get
this
some.
council to follow through on this.
Well, hopefully also, another thing that will help boost reserves is new businesses, new new electrical users, new water users, and hopefully that will also take place. That's all I have. You have a police report in your packet. There's no officer here. Informational items are there. Any members of council or staff have anything for the good of the cause before I recognize citizens?
Oh, no, after that.
All right. Any citizens here want to ask a question or voice a concern or anything you've heard tonight? This is among our quicker meetings. And I do want to apologize to those who were here earlier about some of the profanity that was said. I did the best I could. I didn't see it coming. I gavelled them. And let's not be like, they're, I understand their passion, but that was very, disappointing. And I've been told in the past, there's been some profanity that I did not hear, and for that I also apologize, but when I hear it like that, I try to cut it off. Mr. Green, anything you want to say?
I would ask for a brief executive session for the disposition of real estate.
All right. Mr. Green would like an executive session to discuss disposition of real estate. Would you mind stating?
Town shop.
All right, Old Town, is there a second to this motion? Mr. Nash has moved to go into closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. We stand in closed session, and we'll thank y'all for coming out tonight. Thank you.